Hey there, you military dogs. This is another slower-paced episode that fills in a little bit more of the backstory. We open with Ed dreaming of his father before the boys make it to Teacher's house. Izumi makes quite an entrance in the space of a minute. We see that she's a formidable fighter and anti-military, sick in some way, and has a caring side. Going to see Izumi reveals that their father also seems to be an expert on the Philosopher's Stone.
There was that one alchemist. I thought that one man from Central knew a good amount about the stone.
So who was this guy?
We get a flashback on Hohenheim leaving his family and their mother hiding something.
Hey, why isn't Dad here?
Over dinner, they discuss the birth, and it's clear the boys haven't told Izumi what they did. After, the boys reminisce that she hasn't changed, and we see a flashback of Izumi helping a village during a storm.
Lady, who are you?
Just the housewife who was passing by.
Izumi refuses to take them on as students until she finds out that they'd been orphaned and agrees to take them on.
How am I supposed to say no to that?
Then leaves them alone on an island to discover the meaning of all is one is all.
You two are on your own.
We see Izumi and Sig discussing the boys' training and what she went through.
It's not their education I'm worried about. Their lives could be in danger out there.
They're not doing anything that I haven't. My training began with a whole month in the Briggs Mountains in winter.
You know you shouldn't compare yourself to normal people.
Meanwhile, the boys are struggling to hunt, lacking the practical outdoor skills. After a few days without food, Ed begins to understand that they need to consume life to live, and the boys start to find ways of hunting and cooking for themselves. After a month alone on the island, the boys are thriving, and they contemplate the food chain.
You and I are tiny, not even the size of ants. We're only one small part within the much greater flow. Nothing more than a fraction of the whole. But by putting all those ones together, you get one great all, just like Teacher said.
Izumi returns for them, and the real training begins. Looking back at this, Ed realizes that Izumi has also seen the truth.
But Teacher, you just put your palms together to perform transmutations, don't you?
Perhaps it's something you learn when you see the truth.
Our teacher has seen the truth too.
The next morning, Izumi attacks Ed to force him to transmutate without creating a circle, and lets him know she is aware from when she was sparring with him. We discover that, like the Elric brothers, Izumi attempted to bring back life, and that her unborn child had been taken from her. Izumi confesses to committing the taboo, and that she is missing her inner organs, which explains her illness. The episode ends with Izumi hugging the boys, lamenting of what they have been through. The previous two episodes dealt with the start and end of life. This kind of feels like a recap of the idea, bringing it together in the circle of life kind of way. This was a good episode, and although it could come across as a little bit filler, there are a lot that we can take away from it. Izumi Curtis is wonderfully introduced, and as I mentioned, we go through a flurry of information quickly that shows the complexity of her character. When discussing the boys' training with her husband, Izumi mentions the Briggs Mountains. This is something we will see later, which also explains her fortitude. The Elrics discover that Izumi too has seen the truth, and like Ed, she can transmutate without the need to draw a circle. This is linked to the same taboo that the boys broke. She attempted to bring back an unborn child. After the events of the last episode, I feel like human transmutation is a curse. We saw that the ability to bring life into the world is a power that women command, but for Izumi, it remains out of her grasp. The attempt to rectify this wrong left her missing part of what's inside her, and it seems like she may be dying because of it. That's a heavy price to pay when she didn't get what she wanted. If the laws of alchemy is equivalent exchange, it does feel like Izumi hasn't received the equivalent to her price. We get a little bit more backstory to Van Hohenheim, the boy's father, and hints that he knows more about the Philosopher's Stone. It is worth noting that Theophrastus von Hohenheim, better known as Paracelsus, was a Swiss physician, alchemist, lay theologian, and philosopher of the German Renaissance. It's not a stretch then to think that this might be Van Hohenheim's namesake. Finally, the boys' lesson, one is all is one, appears to be an extension of the idea of equivalent exchange, understanding the individual and its place in the greater whole. I think I heard this somewhere before.